I've been. Dreams are seeds we plant, my friend. Dusty boots, but a heart of gold. Your story's waiting to be told. Inventive journey, here we go. Through highs and lows, we let it flow. Startups rising, small but shine. Your time is now, your stars align. Cowbell ring and feel the beat. Hustle hard, don't take a seat. Every step you're blazing trails. Inventive journey never fails. Inventive journey, here we go. Through highs and lows, we let it flow. Startups rising, small but shine. Your time is now, your stars align. Inventive journey, here we go. Through highs and lows, we let it flow. Startups rising, small but shine. Your time is now, your stars align. Inventive journey, here we go. Through highs and lows, we let it flow. Startups rising, small but shine. Your time is now, your stars align. Your time is now, your stars align. Your time is now, your stars align.
Hey everyone, this is Devin Miller here with another episode of the Inventive Journey. I'm your host, Devin Miller, the serial entrepreneur that's grown several startups into 7- and 8-figure businesses, as well as the founder and CEO of Miller IP Law, where he helps startups and small businesses with their patents and trademarks. You ever need help with yours, just go to strategymeeting.com, grab some time with us to chat, and we're always here to help. Now, today we've got another great guest on the podcast, Abraham George. And Abraham started his journey in the military for India, at the Chinese border of India, and got in an accident where there was a blow up and or got partially, or there was an explosion, and that ended the career there. And but always wanted to help others, so came to the U.S. and studied at New York University, getting both a bachelor's and a PhD. And then went to work for J.P. Morgan. And then from there, 25 years of his own business. And then after that, switched to helping other people that were in poverty and doing a lot of philanthropic work. And working in India, also working and running boarding schools and helping kids and their families. So, with that much as a quick introduction, welcome on the podcast, Abraham.
Right, that story.
Yep, well, it condenses everybody's lives into the short form version, but why don't we rewind and unpack it a little bit and tell
Okay,
us a little bit about how your journey got started going into the military in India?
okay. Well, I was staying at a place where I could watch uh, the parade ground where soldiers were marching, practicing, and I got interested in joining the military. Uh, and I went through 4 years of training to be an officer. At the age of 18, uh, I became an officer and I was sent to the border with China, the Tibetan border, northeast of India. This is a couple of years after the invasion by the Chinese. There was a conflict with India. There, my job was to establish artillery gun positions along the border, some distance from the border, but behind the mountains, and I had to blow huge rocks and so on to put the guns in. They are very large guns, medium guns with 20 miles range. At the end of 11 months, in an accident, I was blown up by dynamite. I almost got killed. I was saved by a fraction of a second. I realized that it's going to blow up, and at that point, I asked myself the question: why did I escape? Um, and by then I had sitting in the cold minus-degree temperatures for months at a time, and watching the clouds go by underneath me. It was 14,000 feet above sea level where I was, and sitting on those hills and watching. I had a lot of time to think about it and read, and I read a couple of books, one by Albert Schweitzer, who won a Nobel Prize, and he went on to Gabon, Africa, and did a lot of humanitarian work. And the other, a book on philosophy by Bertrand Russell. Um, and his book was about a history of Western philosophy. And he talks about, in one line, he says, there is nothing right about war. Uh, it is about who is left. So he uses right and left very cleverly, and it made me think. And I made a decision at that point, though I was a young officer, 18 barely, that this is not my calling, though it is a profession that one has to do to save, from military attacks. I'm not against military by any means. It's somebody has to do that job, but it was not my calling. I made a decision that at some point in my life, I will devote, the balance of my life to service, humanitarian causes. And but I also knew that if I didn't have enough money, nobody's going to listen to me, and I won't be able to get anything done. So I got the opportunity to come to America. uh, don't forget, this is late 1960s. I'm quite ancient, David. And I came to Alabama. I was there for a year, went to University of Alabama and another school. And then I came to New York University, Stern School of Business, where I did a couple of masters and a PhD, and then went on to work for JP Morgan, and then start my own company. That's
So
my
did, and
beginning.
what, sorry, and you may have touched on, what did you study while you were in university? What were the degrees in?
Yeah, my master's and PhD, where you have two majors. One is international finance, and the other was developmental economics. So I had the chance to learn about a lot about finance, and at the same time, I understood the problems that developing countries were facing. Remember, in the 1970s, a good number of countries, including India, were extremely poor. Famine was rampant, a lot of social injustice based on caste discrimination. So there were many issues that I felt I could contribute to in improving the situation.
So now, so you went and so you said you got the degrees, you went to work for JP Morgan before going out on your own. When you were at JP Morgan, how long were you there?
Barely 2.5 years.
Okay. And then maybe as a follow-up to that, so what caused you to decide to move on from JP Morgan to do your own thing? So, was there kind of oh, that was always part of the game plan, or, you just found out that that wasn't necessarily for you, or, a mixture of the both, or kind of what led you to go out on your own?
Well, JP Morgan was very good to me. I had a fair salary for that time, $30,000 a year. I mean, today it means nothing, but those days $30,000 was a good salary for a young man. But I knew that with that type of salary, I will not be able to have the kind of money I need to do what I wanted to do in social service. So then I had some ideas about currencies, how to manage corporations can manage more effectively using computers. Those days there were no PCs. You had, people were doing things on the back of an envelope, as they call it. And I decided that I will design a system for helping companies, treasury departments of companies in managing foreign exchange risk, interest rate risk, risk management for them using timeshare systems. Timeshare means you have a mainframe like General Electric somewhere in Baltimore, and customers are connected through telephone wires through a modem on a dumb terminal. But that was a technology and it was expensive, but you could still connect to a computer and do your work. And I offered my application on that mainframe computer. It took some time, 10 years for me to get going because it was expensive to use those type of technology. And then came along the PCs and that changed my prospects.
Gotcha. So you say, okay, the technology expensive, takes a while to build, a while to get everything in place. Now, I think you ran that business or did that for the space of 25 years, if I remember right, or kind
Right,
of
25
built.
years. 25 years.
So maybe walk us through kind of what was that progression. In other words, it sounds like the first 10 years was building, getting things in place, otherwise doing it. But can we walk us through? That's a pretty good span of your journey and a pretty good progression. So, how was that? Did it take off and was a wild success or something that was continuing to have ups and downs or struggle or eventually went under or somewhere in the middle or kind of walk us through how that venture went?
Right. First 10 years were very difficult because first I didn't have the kind of money. I had saved some money while working at JP Morgan, but that was nothing. That disappeared. And I was teaching in colleges in the evenings to make a living. And I got married and I had to take care of my kid too. So it was a very tough period. And we were not making much money. We licensed our software to four banks, major banks who in turn sold the product to their clients. So we made some money, but nothing great to talk about. And I was constantly improving on the system, adding new features, you know, um, developing capabilities for executing strategies online. So many things I was doing and broadening the system, its capabilities and functionalities. So that went on 10 years. If I could summarize, the next 10 years, we were making, some money. I decided to terminate my relationship with all the banks and directly market to the companies. And that was a tough period because I didn't know enough about marketing. I got hold of one or two guys who were good at it and we went around from company to company all over the country, trying to convince them this is something they could use and minimize their risk. Some of them listened to me and paid for it, so we improved our business. And then came the last 5 years. It was a breakthrough. Our product caught fire. We became the market leader. We opened our office in the World Trade Center, 32nd floor. Had offices in New Jersey, California, London, Brussels. So it took off, and from barely three people in my basement to over 150 staff. So that way, the company grew and became a market leader in our narrow field and made some good money. And when I reached a stage where I felt I had enough money to do what I wanted to do, I decided to sell the business.
So now you said, okay, reach a point, been successful enough, have enough money, want to make an exit. Now, at that time, was the intent, hey, I'm going to retire on an island somewhere and just relax and have a good time? Or did you have kind of the next thing, planned out that you were wanting to do, or kind of, walk us through what that looked like long term as far as the plans go?
Yeah, all through those 25 years, even before that, from the time I was in the military to this moment when I sold my business to a Fortune 500 company, all along my goal was simple, and that is make as much money as I can before I turn 50 and then embark on what I want to do. And so there was no question of me going and holidaying somewhere the rest of my life. I was more interested in going out and helping people. I knew I had some experience during that period, helping some inner city kids succeed in college, I mean, school. So I had some taste of what it is like, and I was excited by the joy I saw in their faces. So, and the success they have had. So it was motivating for me to get started. So no other ideas.
Gotcha. So you get started, and how did you kind of get that started or kick things off? In other words, it sounds like it's a bit of a different area versus what you've done for the bulk of your career, kind of getting more into education or schooling or helping, kids of that nature along those lines, certainly a bit of a different direction. So how did you go about kind of building that, or otherwise putting that philanthropic or that, charitable organization together and helping kids?
Right, good question. I wasn't sure where I was going to do my work. I was thinking of Africa, a place like Gabon where Albert Schweitzer went. But then a good friend of mine persuaded me to come to a part of India, which I didn't know anything. I didn't know their language, nothing like that, and get a foundation started. And she was going back from America after being in America for 20 years. She's promised to help me establish the foundation. I didn't know where I was going, and I ended up um, starting the foundation on my before I turned 50, and then I bought a piece of land, quite a bit of land, 30 acres, in a remote village where nobody, would want to live, because that's where poverty I felt was very rampant, and I wanted to live among those people. So that's where I got started. We built the first school for a boarding school for children from 4 years of age, only for those who are below the poverty line. And those days, poverty line was defined as $1 a day for a family of four. Can you imagine $1 a day for a family of four? Today it's $5. And I was looking up the statistics. 50% of the world's population today is earning less than $6 a day.
Hmm.
50%. And 10% of the world's population, who are at the very top, um, have 70% of the wealth of the world. 10%. So we
Hmm.
have a very great disparity between the rich and the poor. And I had two concerns. One is social justice for them, and they were being discriminated based on caste. Caste is, 1,500 years tradition of, demeaning people, and putting them into different levels so that the bottom one does all the menial labor, and justifying it on the basis of religion and other kinds of things. I just found it totally unacceptable and decided to do something about it. And I had, in my doctoral studies at NYU and discussions with my professors, came up with a strategy that the way to deal with social justice or discrimination was not by trying to tell people who are in the upper level, hey, don't discriminate. It's not going to do anything. They'll continue to do that. They may say something, but they are not going to change. Or go to a church or a temple and preach. If it was so simple, there won't be any discrimination in the world. My solution was that the path to social justice is through economic opportunity for the poorest. Uh, I wanted to do something from the bottom up rather than from the top down, where the government and the rich do something for the poor and they benefit. I wanted the the population at the bottom to have the opportunity to succeed through a good education. Education was my solution. So I decided to start the school uh, for children, a boarding school from the age of 4. The children live with me and offer world class education. And for 14 years, from preschool to grade 12, and then send them to college another 3, 4 years until they have their first job. So it's 18, 19 years of intervention. That's what I had to do. And usually charitable projects or non-governmental organizations, it's very hard to um, find anyone to support you when you go and say, listen, you wait 18 years for your money to show some results. They're not going to
Hmm.
listen, get lost. And so luckily, because I had made money, the first 15 years, I didn't have to go to anyone. I was using my money. And after 15 years, when I lost a lot of money in the financial crisis of 2008, I reached out to others. But by then, I could show the world what I had already done. The infrastructure was there, the school was running, children were in higher grades. So people believed me and helped me.
Awesome. No, that makes sense. And so now kind of maybe catch us up. Where's the organization at today? How many kids and families have you helped? And, I know it's a compound question, but where are things at today and where are things headed?
Today, I have two of such schools. I opened another one last year, and I'm hoping that I will be able to do a couple of more in my lifetime. Um, the each school has somewhere around 350 children. A second school might have a little more, over 400 at a time. Remember, we take children only at the age of 4, not in higher grades. They have to grow up with us because otherwise, very difficult to change their, mental makeup and habits and many other things. So that between them there are some 600, 700 kids at a given time. Another 400, 500 have graduated. They are working in companies like Microsoft, you know, Ernst and Young, ExxonMobil, all these companies. There are some 20 kids studying in America in top colleges for their undergraduate and masters. So it has been a great success. The What I was able to demonstrate is that it doesn't matter where you come from, how poor you are. If you have the opportunity and you bring them up well, they can succeed. It is not just your brain, how you're born, nature, but nurture. Nurture is just as powerful, if not more. And that's what I was able to prove to the world.
Awesome. Well, that is definitely a fun or a great opportunity and a great or great blessing, I'm sure, for them to have you in their lives and to help those families. So, well, now as we've kind of caught up to where things are at and a bit as to even where things are going, great time to transition to the two questions I always like to ask towards the end of each episode. So, the first question I like to ask is, along your journey, what was the worst business decision you ever made? What'd you learn from it?
The worst decision I made, I was in the army. Then I studied and had my own business and then philanthropy. So all my careers were okay, but I made number of mistakes in the last one, the the social service. I went very fast in the beginning because I had a lot of money in my with me, and I not only started these schools, but I had 200 acres of banana farms. I started a hospital, rural hospital, free hospital. I started a journalism college, a number of things. I felt that they were all necessary for dealing with poverty. Without, for example, journalism, I felt that if you have good governance, things will get better. And good governance means that you have to have investigative journalism and things like that. And so I was involved in starting and running many institutions, and I threw a lot of money at this, not realizing that if you are hit with a major crisis like the 2008-9, where property values had number of properties by the beachside in Florida and in New York, New Jersey, and their values fell by more than 50%. My mortgage wasn't even covered by the value. And I was desperate to sell all of them, even at a loss. So suddenly, things that were worth millions of dollars were all lost in no time.
Mm.
And then all my stocks, holdings, even in top companies, Cisco and Microsoft and all that, they're from, almost 45% decline or 55% decline in some cases. So again, if you bought some of those stocks on margin, you are in big trouble. All these converged on me, and then in the banana plantation I had, we were hit with a drought for 4 years, no rain. Uh, so I had to plow the 200 acres of bananas down because you couldn't spend money on growing them. So everything happened to me all of a sudden. So then my goal was to survive, get over it, and build it up again with whatever was left, which I succeeded. And today, we are stronger than ever before, and in some ways better than we ever before, because previously it was a one man show. You should never run these things as a one man show. That's another mistake. You have to get a lot of good people around you and supporters around you and donors around you
And that's what,
who
and
believe
that's
in
what I was
it.
gonna say before you get into that one, because that's I know segues pretty well into the second question. So maybe I'll set that up, and then you can continue on with your answer.
Okay.
But if that's the answer, you can choose another one if you prefer. But to segue into that, what would if you're talking to somebody that's just getting into a startup or a small business, what would be the one rule of thumb you'd recommend?
Uh, a business? Oh, okay. Today, everyone seems to be wanting to get into technology, artificial intelligence, data management, a whole lot of opportunities are there, but they are all very capital intensive. You can't do something today without a lot of capital. Um, No, it depends on your background. If you have an engineering background, you can get involved in producing products that are useful. You have to select those kinds of products that consumers would want to offer them a better product at a lower price. So it doesn't have to be always technology, and everybody can't do technology. Um, and then, of course, the service industry is always there. There's so much of competition. You really have to find your niche, and you really have to do the research to do that. For example, I often wonder how the travel industry, travel agents, how do they make money when everybody is getting on the computer and making their own booking and selecting places to go? You got to figure out where you can really add value to what they are doing, which is usually making sure that your journey is completely planned out. Uh, you know, Everything that you want is well organized, and the customer feels and realizes that the vacation was good. So you got to figure out that niche. So without saying any particular industry, it can be in anything. Um, same thing is true for medical area. Creating products are very expensive usually, and there you have to join with people. But if you have a great technological idea that others haven't come up with, but then you'll realize that it may not hold up, it may not work out. So you have to be very careful. You can spend a lot of time and effort and money, and then it doesn't turn out to be
So
good.
it's yeah, and so it sounds like for her to maybe kind of summarize that takeaway would be as you're diving into whichever industry, make sure you identify and understand a niche to go into that can separate yourself from the competition, which I definitely think
Right.
makes sense and is a great rule of thumb. Well, now as we do wrap towards the end of the episode, if people want to reach out to you, they want to be a customer, they want to be a client, they want to be an employee, they want to be an investor, they want to be your next best friend, any or all of the above. What's the best way to reach out to you, contact you, find out more?
Right. Um, those who are interested in learning what I have done and how I have done, and see how well it operates, they should make it, vacation trip maybe, and visit the campus and see. And then they will have a realization, understanding of what has been done. Um, in my case, I went into the arena of poverty and social justice. People have all kinds of ideas about poverty. They think of poverty as just hunger, but there's a lot more to it than that. So you really need to do your research and do that. Now, so I could be helpful in that. Now, the way to find me is very simple. My name has two other presidents, Abraham Lincoln and George Washington. So you Google on Abraham George, you will hit a lot of sites. I don't want to give any website name. My personal website is drabrahamgeorge.com. You can get to my site, but there are many other sites. So Google on my name and go from there to what interests you. That'll be the
Awesome.
easiest way to get there.
Awesome. Well, I definitely encourage people to reach out, support a great business, make a new connection. If nothing else, make a new best friend. So, with that,
Right.
thank you again, Abraham, for
I just
coming
want
on.
to, if you would allow me 1 minute, I want to say last week.
Yep, and we are just getting right towards the end of the episode. So if you want to make that last comment just real quick, then that's just fine.
Quickly, my book is published, Mountains to Cross, Finding Life's Purpose in Service. It just come out. It's available on Amazon. So those who want to learn about my experience, please search Mountains to Cross.
Awesome. Well, I definitely encourage people to check out the book as well. So, with that, thank you again for coming on the podcast. It's been a fun. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Devin.
Now for all of you that are listeners that are out there, if you have your own journey to share and you'd like to be a guest on the podcast, we'd love to have you. So just go to inventiveunicorn.com, apply to be on the show. A couple more things as listeners. Make sure to click share, subscribe, leave us a review. Helps us to reach even more startups and small businesses to help them along their journey to success. And along that note, if along your journey you ever need help with patents or trademarks or anything else with your startup or your small business, just go to strategymeeting.com, grab some time with us to chat, and we are always here to help. Well, thank you again, Abraham, for coming on the podcast, and wish the next leg of your journey even better than the last.
Thank you, Devin. Thank you.
The road ain't straight, it's got a bend. Dreams of seeds we plant, my friend. Dusty boots, but a heart of gold. Your story's waiting to be told. Inventive journey, here we go. Through highs and lows, we let it flow. Startups rising small, be shine. on, take a seat. Every step you're blazing trail, Inventive Journey never fails.